Okay. I've got a little after 5, is that right?
5:04?
Yeah, okay. I think I'll call the meeting to order then, and people can come in when they come in. But I'd like people to, because Sierra is here for the first time from housing, and I'd like you all to, we can all tell her who we are. So how do we want to start? Bob?
Yeah,
Yeah,
commission.
Historical Commission. And Shannon is a guest. Sierra is from Housing Authority. Janet is secretary, and she's elected by the town. Rini is our select board member. And Eric is here as a guest. And let's see who else is here. Megan from Conservation. And I'm Virginia Ahart. So we kind of need to we've let our guests, not keep them all night.
Virginia.
Yeah. Oh, and Tammy.
Thank you. Tammy Walunas with the Southampton Historical Society.
Yeah, and she's got a report to give us. Sorry about
Meet you all.
I can't see all of you, so that's part of the trouble. Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting. Bob has some things he'd like to correct in that. If you,
I'm not necessarily, I was not present at the last meeting.
yeah,
So basically, I don't know what was actually said and actually recorded. But the only thing that I wanted to point out, which was a factual mistake, that in the minutes under the canal project, that the statement was made that the canal is on the National Register of Historic Places. That is not completely true. It is, the Connecticut portion is, the Massachusetts portion is not. So what I'm saying is that if that was actually said, this is recorded properly, but I should point out that it was, if it was said in error.
I don't remember that it was said as such. I thought that what we had said was that this was an effort to move to that, not that we actually were. But we
Well, I will just correct it. I'll just correct it to say Connecticut is, but Massachusetts is not.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And Janet, that's how I remember it. This is Megan.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other correction is that you recorded that Megan was Mrs. and she's Ms. Right?
Yes, that is true. And my name is actually spelled with an extra A. So I'll,
Yeah. So,
Okay. AAN?
it's MEA.
Oh,
G-H.
MEA.
AN. Yep.
Now I have, oh, I know that what you wrote over there, that Conard Park was just MEAG was your Gmail address.
Yes, that's my email.
MEAG. Okay, I will fix that. And you said I have Mrs. somewhere? I don't see that.
you had, right at the beginning, you had Mrs.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
She is married, but when she's using Kwasinski, it's not, it's Ms. Okay, Bob, do you think we could move right into?
Can we Approve the minutes with corrections, please.
You need a motion to approve the minutes.
Oh,
first.
yes. Okay, a motion to accept with the corrections.
So moved. Srini.
Oh, Megan, I'll second.
Those in favor? So,
Good night.
any abstentions?
think we're
Abstain,
supposed
I
to do
was
a
not
roll.
there.
I think when it's virtual, we're supposed to do a roll call vote, Virginia, just so you know.
Okay. Let's see.
So
Do I
Groden, aye.
vote? I don't vote with you guys, do I?
Who?
Yeah, it's Sierra. Should I vote as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, you're a voting member.
okay, got it.
So, well, Bob,
Abstain,
Rini,
Groden, aye.
Janet.
Yes,
Okay, who else is there? Who am I missing? Oh, Sierra.
Aye, Simmons, aye.
Um, See if there's anyone I missed here.
Oh. Kwasinski, aye.
Okay. All right. Ahart, aye. So I guess it passes. Now, Bob, do you want to introduce our two guests and,
yeah, the request for funds for the canal project has previously been submitted. I presume you all have it. We have the administrative portion of this project is being headed up by Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and we have with us Shannon Walsh and Eric Weiss from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. And I would just turn my comments over to them because they're much more capable than I am of presenting what we're up to here.
okay.
Why don't I start, Shannon? Okay. So first of all, I am the Director of Economic and Municipal Collaboration, which means both I work with municipalities and I work on economic development for the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. I'll let Shannon introduce herself. Go ahead, Shannon.
Hi, and thank you for having us. I'm Shannon Walsh, and I'm the Historic Preservation Planner for the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and happy to have been working on this project now for almost 2 years.
Yep.
We're rounding the corner to almost 2 years using DLTA funds, which maybe Eric can explain a little bit about how this collaboration has been funded to this point.
So we have a pocket of money called DLTA, District Local Technical Assistance, and we get groups of towns or individual towns to apply for specific needs and projects. This project came to our attention roughly 2 years ago, along with the need, and I'll let Shannon speak to the need, but the need to preserve what is left of the canal and to identify where those areas are. That whole piece was brought forward, so we approved the idea at the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission of funding and working with it, and that was over 2 years ago. So now we're at the end of a long 2-year investigation basically into it, and we've gotten a lot of help from the other towns. Northampton's been a tremendous help. The other towns have all stuck with it together. We have all the towns involved looking at this together. So we now have Easthampton, Northampton, Russell, Southampton, Southwick, and Westfield all working together on a project, which is unique and extremely valuable. So we have gotten all the way to the point where we have a request for proposals at this point to hire somebody who is specialized in doing the historical investigation. And again, I'll leave that part for Shannon. What I wanted to bring forward was what we've done is the total cost of that effort to do the investigation, we've estimated to be $90,000. What we're asking for is $15,000 per town. And a number of the towns have already approved their funding for this project. So we're hoping that the town of Southampton, through its CPC funding, will fund their share of the $15,000. Of that, $82,000 would wind up going to the consultant to do the investigation, and $8,000 would come to the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to continue to work with the towns to direct the effort. So for more detailed information about what the effort is and what we're trying to do, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon.
Sure, and I will try to be brief. I first became involved with this mission that's really been going on, as you alluded to before, for many, many decades before me. In 2017, when I started at PVPC, because Southwick reached out to me, they have this mitigation fund from cellular tower, the cellular tower that was put in Southwick, and it can only be used towards documentation or restoration of the canal. So they have been working on this as well as every other town that's involved pretty much separately. There was a big push to get some documentation done back around the early 2003. And it did not, a lot of work went into it, but it did not meet Mass Historical Commission standards. So getting all these 6 municipalities together has been wonderful. Everybody has participated even throughout the pandemic. We, the first 2020 work on this, we met almost monthly virtually. And Eric and I spoke with Mass Historic to make sure that this time we give them exactly what they want. There's really no project quite like this. So it took some creative, looking at different angles to come up with this budget, but it's ultimately, we're hoping for an archaeological reconnaissance survey because some of the canal is no longer there or below ground, or some of it was replaced with the railroad, as you know. And then also mapping, which is very important to get the assessor's parcels, which is what MHC wants, but also documentation to include built resources which remain. And as was mentioned, the entire length of the Connecticut portion of the canal is on the National Register. Massachusetts is not, except for Southampton. Southampton has the Lockville National Register Historic District, which is the only National Register piece tied to the canal in all of Massachusetts. So that is a great argument to connect the dots between Southwick up to Northampton. It's been a great project to work on, and we're really excited it's come to this point. We're going to put together a list of consultants that we're going to send this out to that include archaeological and above ground inventory work, and we're looking forward to the next step.
May I add here that a significant portion of this canal is in that canal district, and lock number 19, which is kind of grown over right now, which is at the intersection of Moose Brook Road there. The lock is actually between the Gorrell House and the house next to that. The Gorrell House was at one time a storehouse for the canal, and a portion of it to the right of the lock was an inn. So that is a very historic and significant part of the Massachusetts portion of this. There are some other portions also. I might add that you may notice that in the request that I wrote up for CPC funds, I wrote up up to $20,000 because I always feel as though I like to put in that contingency. And even though we are currently at around $15,000 to $16,000 per community, I would like that contingency to remain there because one never knows.
I think we'll probably just say 20,000 because saying up to isn't really official. And if you don't use it, then it comes back anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up another subject because I had the conversation with your town administrator, with town manager Ed Gibson, in terms of the frequency of special town meetings or the next upcoming town meeting. And he said you typically do them in January, but this year there's a slight chance that it'll be moved up to late November or December because there's another issue in town and I have no idea what it is. The challenge that we have is we want to keep the project moving and have as many towns approve the money as possible. So we're trying to be as flexible as we can to work with Southampton to keep this moving. And what I want the committee to know is we understand that your approval tonight still has to go before a town meeting before it becomes official.
Yes.
And to give you an update, so Southwick has the mitigation fund. They have up to 25,000 total towards this. Westfield was just approved by City Council. The CPC recommendation was approved by City Council last week. Russell is allocating funds, I believe, from CDBG because they don't have CPC. Easthampton was approved by City Council several weeks ago, and Northampton is going to City Council. It's been approved at the CPC level as a recommendation. It's going to City Council either at the end of this month or early next month. So that's kind of where everybody's at. And I know hopefully some of those other towns sent letters of recommendation to Bob, just to kind of indicating that everybody is in this together.
They did, and I have forwarded some of those, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with towns. You have to wait for a town meeting. I don't want to say too much, but we've never lost one.
Well, knock on wood.
So, I'm not sure what might happen, but we always could, but our track record is pretty good. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, this is Rini. I just want to say relative to the town meeting, we have not had an indoor town meeting now since COVID started. So I think in terms of a January, that would be the consideration, I think. And I think before last year, they were typically earlier, more like November, December. It coincides with, like certifying free cash and all of that. So I think that there's going to be agenda items for the town meeting. So there might be an impetus to have it earlier. I have two other questions that, if it's okay to ask them. The first is, would folks from PVPC be available to attend the town meeting to speak to the project? And also, it was mentioned about 85% would be for consultant fees or thereabouts, and the rest would be for PVPC. And the continuation, what is the continuation, and you anticipate more funds being needed?
I'll take the first question was, can we make it to your town meeting? And the answer is yes. We've been going all kinds of meetings to make sure that this keeps moving along. The second part is, we have an estimate right now of 90,000 for the project, of which 8,000 would go to support PVPC time, which is basically what you're seeing tonight. Shannon and I continuing to work together, making sure that the contractor behaves properly in accordance with the bid. We would be holding the contract with the contractor on behalf of the towns. So that's part of the reason we're in the mix. And as of right now, we don't have a request for additional funds out there. Whether that would ever materialize at a later date, I can't answer for you, but we feel pretty confident about the numbers we have right now and how well they'll work.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and to add to that, I would say a hopeful next step is to get this on the National Register, but there's many steps before that. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get it the way Mass Historic wants it. There's really not a lot of other examples. There's the Blackstone Canal area, there's the Connecticut portion, but Connecticut and Massachusetts do things very differently. So we're just starting with this groundwork, this foundation, but also feel that the municipalities can use whatever information that comes out of this for planning purposes. Like Easthampton used an example that there were permits coming to them that they knew went on land that had the canal there, but there's no documentation. So they couldn't really use that very much in making their decisions about permitting and kind of getting the best practices. And so I think it will be beneficial altogether. But ultimately, the documentation, first and foremost, is mapping. We have Carl Walters, who is a canal historian. Some of you may have heard of him. He's given canal talks over the years. He's been working with us on this. He was a little frustrated up front because he did a lot of work on that 2003 study, but he sees that everybody's really committed to this. So we've put together a bibliography of all the previous work that we could find to get the consultant team off on the best foot. And James Thompson, the Northampton GIS coordinator, actually pulled all of the historic topographical map that Carl Walters had put together and put it on an existing map overlapping assessors parcels. So we actually have really solid mapping, digital mapping to hand this consultant, which Bob witnessed because I was able to get it on my phone and we were driving all over Southampton and following traces of the canal and trying to get updated information to James Thompson. So it's really been collaborative, but I think the first result of this will be something really useful to municipalities. A second later phase would hopefully be National Register, but that requires Mass Historic getting what they want to begin with.
And to that point, we gave a copy of a draft of the RFP to Mass Historic, and they gave us feedback. And whatever language they asked us to put in there is in there verbatim. So they can't say that we didn't respond to their requests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we also feel a slight sense of urgency because of the nice momentum coming with different rail trails in different municipalities, which some of it overlaps with the canal. So we really want to get the canal documented as soon as possible, just so it can be informative to that process as well.
Are there questions? Yeah, Megan? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as far as questions that I have, they're more of just really getting to, sorry, my dog will not stop barking. My questions are more of like the financial aspect of where our funds are, but not necessarily towards you guys.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, Virginia, do you happen to know the current balance under the historical amount?
I have, just a second here. I think I have a report, Virginia. I think mine is as of the 10th, the 1st of July.
Okay,
And I'm showing that there is at that time, there was $72,667 available in the historic preservation account.
So that was after the most recent allocation, but no additional money has been approved. So that's the most current, nothing in, nothing out?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I had tried to get wanted to get an update today, but with our current situation in the accounting office, I just didn't go ahead and bother anybody. But we're okay.
I think that figure is pretty close.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments, questions? So I need something.
I'll make a motion to approve $20,000 towards the mapping of this canal project. And you can fill in the actual title of it if that's, because I don't have that. Is that good enough for the motion?
That's a
Okay.
good enough. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now we need to, once again, have a roll call, and I'm hoping I've got everyone in my sights. Megan,
Aye.
Sierra,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Rini.
Aye.
Now, who have I missed? It's hiding someplace.
Janet and Tammy.
Janet,
Yeah,
and who was the other one?
I don't actually vote on this. Thank you,
Right.
though.
Right.
No, Ahart, aye. So we'll take this to the first town meeting that we have after this. And we'll let you know, Eric and Shannon, so that you can be there.
Great.
So,
Sounds good. Thank you for having us.
thank
Let us know
you.
if you have any questions.
Thank you for the presentation.
Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay, well, I guess we'll go to Tammy for her update on things.
Thank you. Tammy Walunas, Southampton Historical Society President. I know it's been a while since we've given you an update. We had hit a few more bumps in the road with the first contractor, and long story short, we fired them and do not recommend them to do any historical work at all on any buildings in town. We have brought in a new contractor. They have given us a new quote. Bob was phenomenal at being there and helping get across that this town, that the money was not ours. It was the town's money being used to restore our historic building. And we made a few changes, and we have a new signed contract with a new company. And they believe that once this rain stops and it kind of dries out, they should be starting next week. They also think that the last bit of work is only going to take 2 weeks.
Ooh,
And so it's just getting dry, weather permitting, allocations, basically. They need to dig out the foundations again and pour concrete again and jack up the house or the barn again. And ideally, nice sunny days like today would be very good. Although the wind did pick up a little while ago. And it's still falling in budget.
Oh.
So that was a huge concern of ours. And the company we were working with realized that, and they worked with us and we're making it happen. So we're still good with the total amount that we were able to get from you guys, CPC. Thank you.
okay. And thank you also for a wonderful Celebrate Southampton.
Oh,
So, and all the work you're doing there at the Clark Chapman too. So thank you.
nope, thanks. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, Virginia, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
This is Rini, and thank you, Bob and Tammy, for all your work. Did that have to go back out to bid?
We did have two, well, we had other bids in there, but we didn't go with them because they were still higher, and it was including the French drain that did work, that was put in. So we did get one more quote that was just specifically the pillars and stuff. And when we compared the prices of what the original guys said from the 4 quotes we had before, this company was still less. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
thank you, Tammy. Any other questions for her before we go on to the next? I don't think we've got a lot of other real business, but well, we need to move on to the Housing Authority and Sierra. So,
All right. Sounds good. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. And I will be at all the rest of the CPC meetings for the rest of time, hopefully. So the Housing Authority, one of the, I'm going to try to explain as much as I can. Maybe you guys already know all about housing authorities, but one of the main guiding documents that's supposed to sort of set our priorities is called a housing production plan. And our last one that we did was about 10 years ago. And so it is time to redo our housing production plan. And this is something, it's informed a lot by the master plan. We're using a lot of the survey information we got. It's informed by the new census numbers that just came out. We're working with the amazing PVPC also for this, and they're doing a really good job. And so this is going to sort of, it's going to guide our priorities. It's going to help us establish a housing trust, which would enable us to, that's one of our strategies in the housing production plan, which would help us, secure more affordable housing property and things like that. It's going to include, a bunch of research about the numbers and the demographics. It's going to include, the various strategies. A lot of them are the most recent master plan update provide a lot of guidance on old housing authority goals that hadn't been handled yet. And so a lot of those are going to be sort of worked into the housing production plan. So that said, we are having a community meeting, which is where we gather everyone's input and thoughts. We inform everyone the data that PVPC has looked up so far, the census updates about our town, and then we take questions, or PVCC people take questions, and people can give their opinions about where they think, affordable housing should go and things like that. So it's going to be a virtual meeting. We would love for all of you to come. It's September 22nd. It's a Wednesday. It's from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. We have, I can send out, if you would like, I can send out a PDF. We have a little flyer for it. And you can sign up for reminders as well. If you want to go to it, you can let me know and I can put you in the reminder email list. Also, while I have Bob in front of me here, we were hoping to get a notification about it onto the Lions Club sign, and I emailed you about it. So
I'm waiting. I guess it was you. Have you been corresponding with me? Was it you?
one message so far. I haven't heard back.
Did you get my answer back saying that we need, it's 4 lines, approximately 20 letters per line, and I need the wording? Now, since I sent you that, which obviously you didn't get, I don't know why, but I have been relieved of my duties. So someone else will be handling it, but I'll tell you what, you send me what you would like to put up there, 4 lines up to 20 letters per line. And I will get it to the right person.
All right, thank you so much. So yeah, we would love for all of you to come, especially, since you're very connected to the Housing Authority and a lot of the projects we're going to be doing, we might be talking about using CPA funds for it. So you all are really important people to have there. So it would be awesome if you would come. How should I share the information? Should I put the link in the chat? Would that be helpful? Well, I will put the link in the chat. But that's basically it for now. Unless you guys have more questions for me, I'm relatively new to the Housing Authority. I joined this year, but if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free.
Yeah, we can also send it out. Could have Janet remind our other members too of it.
That'd be awesome.
We have been waiting for, community preservation's been around 20 years, and we have been waiting for a good 18 to have something going, and maybe even 19 or 20 for something to be going along with the housing. So, and we have only spent a little bit of funds with a survey done years ago. So there's funding there for you too, and we probably should be using it.
Yes, definitely.
We shouldn't be just taking this money and hanging on to it, but that's what's happened because nothing much was coming out. I know some people tried to get things going, but it just didn't seem to click. So this is good to hear.
Yeah, hopefully this will sort of get things moving. I know a couple of the barriers in the past, which I'm sure you all know about, is being able to jump on property that's for sale, waiting for a town meeting to get it voted on, and then it's already sold by the time we get there, which creating a housing trust would help because housing trusts can act independently and they can jump on those properties as they come out. I know another barrier was getting developers to actually make affordable housing. They tried to meet, I've heard some vague history that people attempted to meet with these developers and, find out what the barriers were to creating affordable housing. And this isn't even low income housing necessarily. This is affordable to the median income housing. And it was still, the developers gave a couple comments, but no one ever came through with building things. So another thing we're hopefully going to be working on is updating our inclusive zoning resolution because right now it exists, but there's no real way to enforce it. And it's people are sort of getting around it by just not hitting the 10 unit quotient or quota rather. So hopefully, like I said, I'm new here, but hopefully this will sort of set momentum going in the right direction and sort of help us prioritize those few projects that will make things a little easier to act on.
I agree, Sierra, and I agree with Virginia too, that there've been a lot of efforts and they haven't been wasted, but they definitely haven't had the traction. And we don't have a town with the median income that meets a lot of the other types of qualifications. Right now, it's a seller's market. So we're not going to find properties even at all. But the other thing I just wanted to mention is, this is not on the topic of tonight, but I just want to remind you and anybody else on this call that there's CARES Act money that was reserved for rental assistance, and none of it's been used yet. So I told Joy Piper is aware of it as the housing representative from the select board. So just, I think she was going to bring it back to the housing authority and also to try to strategize on putting up notices at the apartment in town, Cumberland Farms, whatever. But just want to let you know that there was money reserved for food and rent in the CARES Act, and it has not been used. So please spread the word.
Yes, we are aware of that, and we were working with, I think it was PVPC or someone else who was handling the actual applications, we put flyers up in various places. Janet and Jim physically put flyers up. We put it on the website, and PVPC was supposedly helping with that as well, but we never got any actual applications. However, my thinking is that the money lasts until the end of the calendar year. My thinking is that with the whole unemployment thing going away and with cold weather coming, people having to buy their, oil and stuff, I think the need is going to maybe increase in the next few months. So I'm really hoping that we're able to find some eligible people in, the next few months until December to use some of those funds. And we will definitely be sharing the info as much as we can.
Maureen, do you know whether the church food program is aware that there is money available? And if they are they suggesting it to Southampton residences or not?
Yeah, so some of the money went to gift cards for the Good Eats to Go, and a lot of seniors took advantage of that. Some money went towards the Southampton Community Cupboard. I don't know if they've swung back to the church to say, oh, and by the way, there's rental assistance too. They were very much involved in the initial food amount. But I'm happy to reach out to a number of people from Southampton, the Congregational Church or the Cupboard, and just let them know to please put up notices that there's rental assistance available.
We had, I had indicated that there were towns around here who were using community preservation funds and were able to do that. Hadley was one. But, there didn't seem to be any interest in following through with that. And also the almoners have some money. Was community preservation funds years ago was given, and that was kind of an innovative thing in the state. And we were lucky we had almoners so that, we didn't have to go to town meeting and say names. And we gave them a pot of money, and they are still using a bit of that. Unfortunately, as time went on, the state said, no, don't do that anymore. That money had originally been for making adjustments in homes of seniors who needed a ramp or doors widened and things like that. And I know that was used several times. I know it kept one man in his home for the last 6 weeks of his life. But then the state, in its wisdom, said, don't do that. And we couldn't give them more. So that was also from the housing. But that's all we've ever used. So there is quite a bit of money there. So they can start work. And
awesome. Can't wait to hopefully spend it on something amazing.
well, if people are, and you've got, you pay some into community preservation and then we get a matching grant from the state. But if people aren't using it, there's always a question as to why do I have to pay this if
Mhm.
you've got this amount of money sitting there? Well, we can only use this for housing. And that makes it kind of difficult. I know there's criticism on that.
Well, we actually had a vote at town meeting not long ago where they wanted to reduce the surcharge to, I think, a 1%. And I think that when you have pots of money that just sit there, I think it's a harder sell to say, no, it needs to be more. So I really applaud your trying to advance the housing, to be able to spend it to help people in town. Because if it's just sitting there, it's going to be a harder sell to reduce the surcharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you probably know, Southampton is nowhere near the 10% 40B required housing. So it's like I so wish we could turn some of that money into housing. So many steps to get there.
Is that actually, I've heard that it does sometimes affect our getting grants. I don't know how true that is, but I've been told that our lack of affordable housing.
Also, the median income also limits our accessibility for certain grants that focus on lower income.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we qualify. Sometimes we're lucky and we get to be at the rural town special grants. But
yeah, are there any other questions or comments on this? Well, thank you, and keep that date on your calendar so that you can tune in and see what's going on. And thank you for your work, and thank you for everyone that's on the housing authority now getting moving.
Rudy, if I could just make a comment, I read the recent report from the community preservation, I guess it's collaborative or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the Celebrate Southampton, I manned the CPC booth and told a few people this. Over the course of the period of time that we have engaged in the CPC funds at the 3% level, we have realized like a 66% return on investment. I forget what the exact figures are now, but this is a good deal. and if anybody thinks otherwise, boy, they sure have to convince me.
It sure is. I agree.
Yeah.
It's been a godsend for open space.
Oh, yes. And other historic.
Yeah, absolutely. All of them, but not underutilized, definitely housing.
Yes. And it's been sitting there, and so it's nice to see things are happening. Okay. Is there any other thing that anyone wants to report or ask about?
Is there any updates as far as the use of CPC funds for bike trails?
Well, we know that they said the state finally said they could be used.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's at. I do know that Gibson wanted to speak to me about that, and I'm willing to, but he's just been straight out with other things.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure what they might be thinking, but we do have the other catch is that we do have that undesignated money, and there's quite a bit in that. So that we first start looking at the designated areas when people bring projects. And then if we don't have enough funding, we turn to the undesignated because that's for any of the three And so I know there's some money out there that could help, but I think it's just a matter of his time,
Yeah.
because I'm perfectly willing to sit down and talk about it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time spinning my wheels about a bike path until I'm pretty sure that it can happen.
Well, we got two separate $100,000 grants towards advancing it, and it was identified in the town survey as the highest priority. I just wanted to mention to Sierra also, I was going to a few of the Housing Authority meetings for a period of time because sadly one of the members passed away, and just to keep it going a little bit. And I had contacted the Westhampton Woods, which is senior housing. And I just think that it's a huge need to try to keep people in town. We talk about affordable housing, but for seniors, I hope there's a continued emphasis on the intersection between seniors and housing, because I just think it's, tremendously needed.
I haven't been up to see it, but I understand Goshen,
Mhm.
a neat senior housing project. They are in community preservation too.
Mhm.
But I think it's 12 units.
Wow.
And it's
Yeah, they did something cool. They got a nonprofit developer, and I think it was I forget what it's called. It's a little like mini unit, like kind of I don't know what it's called, but almost like a carriage house situation. So like loft above the garage situation, and so they got to designate those in some way. I'm sorry, I don't know all the details, but we did hear about that, and it was cool. It involved working with a nonprofit organization.
And I know they had the space, which is one of the problems.
Yeah, it's a major issue.
Yeah,
Can
well,
I ask another
sewer is another
thing?
problem or an issue with 12 units.
Mm.
Can I ask another housing related question?
Yep.
Of you, Virginia. So as you may know, another issue with the Housing Authority is that we don't have enough members. We're supposed to have 5 and we have 3. And we were wondering, is there any CPA funding that can be used for member recruitment, or is that too administrative?
Well, the problem is that we'd have to be helping. You can't, but there's a lot of committees and commissions and boards that don't have full.
So it would have to be you help everyone or you help no one, basically.
And I've never seen anything that would say that was okay.
Okay, figured it was worth asking. Thank you.
But I'm sure that the select board would love to see lots of people volunteering for all these different committees and commissions and boards. So, and we're getting a few.
What I've done in the past, Sierra, is in terms of recruiting people, the town clerk puts out a street listing. It's public, and it lists all the people in town and where they live and also what their occupation is. It doesn't, tell people that are retired and what their expertise, is and was. But for example, when we were looking for the MRC, which is the Medical Reserve Corps during H1N1, we went through and you can slice and dice that thing by occupation. So we recruited all the EMTs and nurses to be in MRC. And I did the same thing with another project that involved the schools. So if you were looking for someone with an expertise in mortgage something, or another person with an expertise in something else, you can just use Excel and kind of number them or order them in whatever way by occupation. And you could, sometimes a one-on-one sort of appeal, saying, wow, we're really looking for someone with an expertise in, banking or this or that. And Lucy Dalton would be able to give you that list. It's electronic.
Awesome, thank you.
Is there anything else that we need to talk about or come before us or report on? I know we haven't met in a while, but.
Virginia, the select board is bringing back quarterly reports. And do you guys know when you are on?
I think it's October.
Okay.
I think it's in early October. I saw it, but I didn't record it, so.
Okay.
You know,
Very good. Just wanted you to
Yeah.
know or to be aware, and thank you.
yeah, I got a list. I usually am watching the select board meetings, but every so often there's a Tuesday that I'm unavailable. It just works out, the two things conflict that I have. So I've been trying to keep track, even though I'm not Zooming into the meeting or anything like that. Okay. Well, I don't have anything else that we need to be looking at. So do I hear a motion? Our next
Just want
meeting,
to say in the minutes, our next meeting is October the 6th
yeah.
at 5. Are we going to try to meet in the town hall or Zoom?
Well, if I move fast enough. I didn't move fast enough on this one. When I looked, for some reason, the school committee was meeting in the big room instead of at the school. And the only room that would be available would be the little room upstairs where we couldn't, I mean, it doesn't really hold the number of people we have comfortably anytime. And then when you have to try to stay so far apart, it just wasn't going to work.
What does it take to schedule it in the town hall downstairs? What does it take to schedule it now? I could do that if you, I don't know what.
Well, you have to get there before anyone else.
May I just weigh in for a quick second? I am high risk and I have a child who's too young to be vaccinated. So with all the variants, it's definitely much easier for me to do a Zoom meeting instead of an indoor meeting. And I don't always have childcare at this time.
Well, let's just do a Zoom then. That's fine. Yeah.
It doesn't bother me one way or another. But that's why, that's what happened this time. I thought a week and a half ahead would be fine, and school committee was there. So anyway, but yeah, we can work on, making sure, but this does really protect people. And of course, one reason was Cindy Palmer said she'd come in from wherever she is on the Zoom, and I don't know where she is.
Megan, would you be comfortable with the Conant Park location?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The outside meeting that we did last time was perfectly fine.
Well, the days are going to be getting shorter in October. Do you think that would still work in October? I don't know.
Well, it could be chilly too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really up to you guys. So
Let's just do this Zoom thing.
Yeah, we can do this. It's easy all the way around. So I need a motion.
I can motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Okay, and do we have to go through this? Yes. Megan?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Bob? Sierra?
Aye.
Is there anyone I've met? Oh, Rini.
Oh, I was Maureen and Rini, so I answered a bowl. I'll say aye, aye.
And you.
Okay. All right. Meeting is adjourned. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Virginia. Bye-bye,
Night,
everybody.
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Thank you all. And keep the 22nd in mind. Okay?
Okay,
All right. Bye.
bye.